Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a movie, right? All-star cast, based on a stone-cold classic story. And it somehow achieves a perfect, unblemished, absolute 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Zero. Yeah.
Not a single critic gave it a passing grade. It almost feels uh, statistically impossible, doesn't it?
It really does. Quite remarkable, actually.
Today we're diving deep into the cinematic event, or perhaps the anti-event. That is Prime Video's brand new reboot of War of the Worlds. You know, the one starring Ice Cube and Eva Longoria.
Big names.
Big names. And our mission in this deep dive is, well, to figure out precisely what went so spectacularly wrong here. We're drawing all our insights from the critical reviews, audience reactions, which have already become, let's just say, legendary in their negative.
Well, what's fascinating here is a unanimous critical rejection like this isn't just about, a bad movie. It tells us something quite profound, I think, about creative risks, about audience expectations, and frankly, the challenges of adapting really beloved IP in this modern streaming world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just a misstep, is it? It feels like a full-blown cultural flashpoint.
Definitely. It offers some pretty stark lessons for the industry, I'd say.
And what a flashpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first major point, and it's definitely the headline grabber.
Yeah.
This unprecedented failure. A perfect 0%.
Right.
I mean, when you think about it, major studio production, recognizable stars, a story everyone knows, a score like that just signals a total fundamental breakdown, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests this rare level of critical consensus. It goes way beyond just dislike. It points towards a really deep-seated rejection of its core premise, maybe, and definitely its execution.
Yeah.
Because, when a production backed by names like Ice Cube, Eva Longoria, built on something as huge as War of the Worlds, ends up with absolute zero. It's more than just a commercial flop. It really highlights a significant gamble that's just, it didn't pay off at all. It shows this profound disconnect, I think, between the creative vision, how it was executed, and what everyone, critics and audiences, expect.
It didn't just fail to connect. It sounds like it actively pushed people away.
That seems to be the consensus, yeah. It alienated its potential viewers.
And a huge part of that alienation, I think, probably stems from what we're calling its narrative experiment.
Ah, yes. The screenlife approach.
Exactly. The director, Rich Lee, chose this really ambitious but clearly controversial storytelling method. So instead of traditional scenes, the entire alien invasion story unfolds just through the point of view of a Homeland Security analyst.
Right, on his computer screen.
Yeah. So as a viewer, you're experiencing this global catastrophe playing out entirely on his desktop. Just a dizzying flurry of windows, fragmented files, video calls, news feeds, all happening at once. Can you imagine trying to absorb the terror, the spectacle of an alien invasion through, pop-ups and browser tabs?
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it? While it's innovative, maybe, did this format fundamentally undermine the genre's core elements? War of the Worlds, at its heart, it's about visceral spectacle, right? The huge scale of invasion, human terror.
Yeah, that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Exactly, that vast, unknowable alien threat. Could watching it unfold, solely through a fragmented digital interface, through just a bunch of windows and files, could that really create genuine edge-of-your-seat material?
It seems unlikely.
I mean, films like Searching or Unfriended, they've used screen-based storytelling successfully, sure.
Right, but for smaller, more intimate thrillers.
Precisely. They typically don't promise, global destruction.
Right.
This format, for this kind of story, this scale, it tends to create a barrier, I think. It pulls you out of the immediate, immersive experience, puts you in this more detached, almost administrative role, watching someone else watch the invasion.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Administrative.
It's a bold choice, absolutely. But it seems like it's stripped away the very immersion that sci-fi thrillers usually thrive on. Replaced it with this, observational distance.
And the critics, wow. They certainly didn't hold back, did they? They absolutely eviscerated this film.
No, they did not mince words.
Variety, for instance, didn't just dislike it, they flat out called it a disaster. Ouch. But the specific criticisms went much deeper. Reviewers kept saying it felt more like an Amazon commercial than an actual film.
Which, again, is pretty damning coming from Amazon's home platform.
Right. And the common threads you see everywhere, weak script, acting that falls flat. And maybe the worst part for this kind of story, the so-called suspense.
Yeah.
Completely missing.
Yeah.
It just reads like a checklist of fundamental movie failings. And that weird presentation probably just made it all worse.
Well, what stands out here is how those individual criticisms, when you put them together, they paint this really clear picture of a viewing experience that seems designed to actively push the audience away rather than draw them in.
Mm.
A weak script means, characters lack depth, the dialogues may be unconvincing, makes it hard to care about anyone.
Right. Flat acting.
Mm.
You don't get the emotion, the urgency you need when the world's ending.
Exactly. And crucially, like you said, for an alien invasion story, the absence of suspense, that's a death knell.
Totally.
If you're not on the edge of your seat, what's the point, really? So it looks like the innovative format wasn't just maybe problematic on its own. It likely just exacerbated these other, more traditional cinematic failings, leaving viewers with nothing compelling to grasp onto.
Yeah.
That screen life thing, instead of making it feel more intimate, it sounds like it just made it feel more distant, less impactful.
And if the critics weren't enough,
Yeah.
then came social media.
Oh, boy. Ah, the internet pile-on.
It took this film and just ran with it. Turned its failure into fodder for memes, jokes, everywhere. It's like the internet collectively decided this was its new favorite punching bag.
Happens fast these days.
Memes are absolutely everywhere, turning screenshots into, well, comedic gold, apparently. People posting hilarious observations like how characters look like they were saved from an Amazon gift card.
Huh. Okay, that's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Highlights the maybe stilted visuals of the format.
I guess so. And the general feeling online, lots of people just calling it boring or a total waste of time. There's even this one really cutting observation from our source material that just nails it. Honestly, the memes are more entertaining than the movie itself.
Wow. When the commentary becomes better than the content.
That really says it all, doesn't it? That encapsulates its unfortunate legacy, at least online.
So what does this all mean? Well, when a film becomes a cultural punchline, a meme generator, it really transcends mere criticism, doesn't it? It becomes this shared experience of collective disappointment, often driven by humor, funnily enough.
Yeah, like everyone's in on the joke.
Exactly. And this phenomenon, it just shows the immense power of online reaction. How it can instantly solidify a film's public perception. It moves from being something people might just avoid to something people actually engage with because it's supposedly so awful.
The hate watch phenomenon.
Precisely. This ironic engagement can, in a weird way, become almost like a badge of honor for viewers. Have you seen how bad it is?
Right. Got to see it to believe it.
It's a very modern form of public discourse, really, where a film's complete failure can ironically boost its visibility through, well, negative virality.
And of course,
Yeah.
you absolutely cannot talk about War of the Worlds without mentioning the giant tripod-shaped shadow in the room.
Spielberg.
The 2005 version with Tom Cruise, it was totally inevitable this new reboot would be compared to it.
Always a tough comparison for any reboot.
And frankly, the comparison here isn't even close based on what we're seeing. Our source highlights exactly what the Spielberg version delivered. Spectacle, actual aliens, and some real tension.
It delivered on the promise of the title.
Yeah, that film, for all its own quirks maybe, it truly immersed you in the chaos, the sheer scale of the invasion. It gave you the dread, the monstrous tripods, that tangible sense of a world just completely changed.
Visceral.
Totally. This new Prime Video version, though, by stark contrast, it seems to have, as the source put it, turned a classic story into a punchline.
That's harsh.
It's a tough legacy to live up to, for sure. And it seems this reboot didn't even really try to compete on the same field. It just skipped the very elements that make War of the Worlds so enduring, so terrifying.
This raises an important question, though. What essential elements of the original narrative did the 2005 version capture that this new reboot seemingly missed, resulting in such a huge difference in reception?
Good question.
Well, Spielberg's film, I think, understood that primal need for a protagonist's desperate personal struggle amidst this global catastrophe, the visceral fear of the unknown alien threat, and the power of showing, not just, telling about the widespread destruction.
Right. Show, don't tell. Especially with giant alien tripods.
Exactly. Rebooting beloved classics. It carries this immense weight of audience expectation, not just for quality, but for capturing the spirit, the iconic imagery of the original.
People have strong feelings about these stories.
They do. And when a new adaptation deviates too far from those core things, especially scale, direct engagement with the threat, immersive storytelling, it inevitably faces an uphill battle to win over an audience that already has a strong positive reference point, like the Spielberg film.
And that desktop view just couldn't deliver that spectacle, that dread.
It seems fundamentally constrained. Yeah, it couldn't really meet those core expectations inherent to the story.
It's truly an object lesson, isn't it? The reviewer's overall take on this new War of the Worlds is incredibly pointed. War of the Worlds on Prime Video is less war and more waste.
Oof. Succinct.
They go on. Roasted by critics, hated by fans. But here's the paradox, and it's pretty fascinating. Despite all this, people are apparently only watching it out of curiosity.
Ah, the train wreck effect.
Exactly, just to see for themselves how bad it really is. It's almost like a cinematic dare. Disaster tourism for film. The source's final piece of advice is blunt, very direct. If you want a good alien invasion story, just rewatch Spielberg's take. Trust me, it'll save you some time.
Probably sound advice for many. But, what's fascinating here is that phenomenon itself. Watching a spectacular failure out of pure curiosity.
Yeah, why do we do that?
Well, it's a testament, maybe, to the human impulse to witness and then share, a shared cultural experience, even when you know it won't be enjoyable. In this age of endless streaming content where choice can be overwhelming, a movie that achieves such notorious infamy, it actually stands out.
Wait, it cuts through the noise, even if it's bad noise.
Precisely. It becomes a conversational piece, a communal experience of, can you believe how bad this is? So this curious dynamic suggests that sometimes a movie's complete and utter failure can ironically become its most compelling, albeit unintentional, marketing strategy.
Huh. Never thought of it that way.
People aren't necessarily tuning in for entertainment, maybe, but for observation, for the story behind the story.
So to recap our deep dive into Prime Video's War of the Worlds reboot. Wow. We've basically witnessed an unprecedented critical failure. A perfect 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it wasn't just like an accident.
No, clearly not.
It was this collision, it seems, of ambitious but ultimately flawed narrative choices telling an alien invasion entirely through a computer screen, coupled with, well, a weak script, flat acting, and a complete lack of suspense. The basics were missing.
Fundamental issues.
Social media then grabbed onto these cinematic calamities, amplified them, turned the film into a widespread joke, a meme generator.
The modern trial by fire.
And all of this happened, of course, in the huge shadow of Spielberg's 2005 version, which really understood how to deliver spectacle and tension. Something this reboot consciously seemed to shy away from.
Yeah, a deliberate but perhaps misguided choice. In an era of endless streaming content where competition for eyeballs is just so fierce, this brings up an interesting final thought. Does a movie achieving a perfect 0 on Rotten Tomatoes actually make it a monumental failure? Or does the sheer notoriety and the subsequent hate watching it inspires, does that give it a strange, accidental form of success? Just by getting people to talk about it, to click play, even out of morbid curiosity.
That's a really interesting question. Failure is accidental marketing. Huh. So what do you think? Would you watch this reboot just to see how bad it truly is? Or are you skipping it altogether, sticking with the classics maybe? We hope this deep dive gave you a pretty clear picture of why this one landed where it did. And maybe, just maybe,